Today we are doing a very easy back to school makeup look using all very affordable products. Hi everyone, it's Natalie. Welcome back to my channel. I do lifestyle and mommy vlogs over here, and I am super excited to be bringing you this very affordable, very easy makeup look that is perfect for back to school. I am bringing in some fall colors with my eyeshadow and what I have on my lips, but I'm still maintaining my late summertime glow, and I hope you enjoy this sort of chatty talk through makeup tutorial as much as I enjoyed sitting down and making this for you all. So if you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and let's jump into this tutorial. Please don't mind this little fever blister that I got. I am getting over a cold, and I always get one of those. Oh well, I will do my best to hide it. Let's get into this tutorial. I am using just drugstore products today, and it's super simple. This is kind of what I do if I have to get out of the house really early, or if I don't have as much time as I thought I did. Admit it, you do the same thing. My skin is freshly washed and moisturized. I'm not gonna do primer today because that's an extra step, and on mornings you're in a hurry, no one needs extra steps. I am first going to put on some foundation. The foundation that I am using today is the Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth. You've seen me use this so many times, and if you've seen my foundation routine, you know that I mix a little bit of my foundation with a drop of tea tree oil. Now there are tea tree oil brands that you can find at the drugstore. This is a Young Living brand, which is not drugstore. So go ahead and check out like Target or Rite Aid. I know they've got their own brand. And I just swirl that in a little makeup cap here from an old thing of powder. I'm just gonna put that in dots on my face. And also my fingers, my hands are clean. I have washed them. So I'm putting that in dots on my face all around, and I'm gonna buff that out evenly with my Real Techniques Miracle Blending Sponge. It's dampened. And like I said in my foundation routine, I start at the center of my face. That's where the highest concentration of the foundation is. And I massage it into my skin, tapping it in and blending it out to the outer part of my face. Of course, I always make sure that I blend it into my hairline, over by my ears, kind of in this sideburn area, and under my jaw. See this part? I got some streaks going on over here, so I'm gonna make sure that this is nice and even. If the only thing I ever get to in my makeup routine is my foundation, then I wanna make sure that I spend enough time on it that I am making it nice and even and streak free. And honestly, if I could use one thing out of all of my makeup, if I could choose literally just one item, it's something to even out my skin. That's looking pretty even to me. Before I set it with powder, I'm just gonna do a little bit concealing under my eyes. Typically, I deal with some breakouts, so if I had that going on, I would conceal that at this time as well. I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in 15 Fair. Blending that out. I'm not going to be too precise about the shape of the concealer that I put under my eyes. People typically do that triangle shape, which I think is nice and flattering. I'm just going to bring that concealer down a little bit beside my nose. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, blending that down, and then bringing some of that excess concealer over onto my eyelid to avoid having to use a separate product and a separate step of priming my eyelids. Now, I don't really have a lot of blemishes right now. I'm just gonna pat some of the excess that's still on the sponge just over some areas of hyperpigmentation and redness, like around the edges of my nose. I have a little blemish here, and I think we're good. Okay, so now I'm going to set my concealer and my foundation. I like this Real Techniques contour brush for loading up powder on my concealer underneath my eyes. I just feel like this brush particularly, it's not as soft as the other Real Techniques brushes, but it really picks up a lot of powder. I'm liking that a lot. And I don't use a lot of powder over on the rest of my face. Oh, and by the way, the powder I'm using is the a Rimmel Stay Matte. I'm actually using the Creamy Natural shade. They were out of translucent when I went to purchase some more, and this was the next lightest shade, and it's actually been working really well. It only deposits just a bit of color on my face, which I don't mind. So I am just patting this on, pressing it into the skin, and making sure to hit my T-zone. And then also I make sure to put enough powder on the apples of my cheeks so that my blush has something to cling to and it won't get splotchy. And speaking of blush, the blush I'm using today is the Wet n Wild Color Icon blush in Pearlescent Pink. This is my all-time favorite. It is a huge favorite, a dupe for one of the NARS blushes, which is really great. It lasts a long time and it's super easy to apply and blend. So I'm using that same big fluffy brush from Real Techniques to just pat it on the apples of my cheeks first, and then to just kind of sweep it back just to evenly distribute that color and add a nice healthy flush. Now in my Beauty Basics series, I also have a tutorial on how I do my eyebrows. So I'm gonna just whip through my eyebrows here. If you wanna see a more detailed routine, go check that video out. But basically, and especially on a morning where I am trying to go quickly, I just basically even them out and not necessarily fill them in. I do have kind of thick brows, and so filling them in is not necessarily the biggest goal here, especially when I'm having to hurry. It's more just evening them out so they look a little bit more alike. But someone in the comments of my brow tutorial made the statement that I totally agree with, which is eyebrows are sisters, not twins. And I know something about twins because I'm a twin mama. And now I'm just evening it out with any excess concealer that I have on this Real Techniques little sponge. Just making sure that I'm making those lines just a little bit more crisp. And using this little spoolie on the end of this e.l.f. brush. I'm using a combination of the LA Colors auto eyeliner, which I'm also going to use for my eyeliner, and then the e.l.f. Spoolie at the end. I'm using the e.l.f. one for the spoolie capabilities. Eyebrows are done. Now it's time to move on to a little bit of eyeshadow. And since this routine is supposed to be quick, I'm going to keep it very simple. Today I am using the Wet n Wild, what is this? The Studio Eyeshadow Palette. It's beautiful. It's Coming in Latte is the name of this palette. And I'm going to pick up this sort of mauve-y, cool toned, kind of a lavender color on the end of this Eco Tools brush. This is the shade brush from Eco Tools. Putting that on the tip of this brush and then tapping it off. Outside corner, sweeping it in. Again, not getting too precise about everything because this is supposed to be quick and simple and a more natural look. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, sweeping from outer to inner corner. Windshield wiper motions. And I'm gonna look in my little mirror over here and make sure that each eye matches each other, like the intensity and the shape of where that crease color is. So that's looking pretty good to me. And then I'm going to take my middle finger into the color right next to it, this more shinier version of this mauve. I'm gonna pat that on the lid like this. Gonna do the same thing on the other eye. Again, we're not being too precise. We're just kind of giving it a wash of color, and I love this color. I think it is so flattering. It's gonna be really nice for lots of different eye colors. And then I'm gonna take this Deluxe Crease brush from Real Techniques and just blend those two colors together using windshield wiper motions. This bigger fluffy brush just kind of hits both colors, that matte color and the metallic color, and just kind of makes it so there's no harsh lines of where one stops and one begins. Then I'm gonna take my ring finger, since my middle finger has a little bit of that other shade on it. I'm gonna dip it into this, it's the second to the end here, this light pinky metallic shade, and just pat a little bit of that right in the center of my eyelid. That just makes your eyes appear to have more dimension and pop right here in the center. I'm gonna do the same thing right here. I'm gonna take that light shade right here in the corner of my eye, kind of in the tear duct area, just to add even more dimension and pop. Baby wipes are always a good thing to have on hand, so I'm gonna wipe off my hands since they have eyeshadow on them. Make sure that they're nice and dry, and then I'm going to line my eyes. Very simple, not using liquid eyeliner. Leave it to me to try to do liquid eyeliner on a morning that I am in a rush, and so I have learned my lesson time and time again, and I'm just using the same automatic LA Colors eye pencil, and I'm going to just pull my lid slightly out, stretch it out a little bit, and just concentrate most of that color right on the outside and getting a thinner line as I move in. And then pretty much on the inside corner of my eye, that line is non-existent. I'm just kind of fading it out. So the highest concentration of color and the thickest part of the line is on the outer edge of my eye. Do the same thing on the other side, starting in the outer corner. I am bringing that line a little bit out, not too much of a wing at all, but I am bringing that out a little bit beyond my natural line here, just to make my eyes appear bigger and lifted and more awake. I'm gonna take this same pencil and just bring it very lightly, kind of just dabbing it on my lower lash line, starting in the outer corner again, moving toward the inner corner. There we go. Now it's time for a bit of the mascara. So I'm gonna curl my lashes. Today I am going to use the L'Oreal Voluminous False Fiber Lashes in the shade Black Lacquer. Love this stuff. And this stuff dries really quickly, so you have to move kind of fast, but I also see its drying time as a benefit, especially when you're in a hurry in the morning, because you can just throw your mascara on and then move on without being scared it's gonna smudge all over the place if you don't hold perfectly still until it's completely dry. I'm just adding a coat to each side, and I have a little mini version of this in my purse, and so if I get to my car before I'm about to walk in to wherever I'm going, if I think I need another coat, I will do it right there, because second coat always goes on best after the first coat has completely dried. Now, I'm gonna fix my lip situation, which this shouldn't be a part of my tutorial because this is not a tutorial on how to hide a cold sore. So let's skip through this part. I'm actually just gonna use some lip liner to hide that. This is the number 3 shade in the Milani True Color lip liner line. And just like the other parts of this tutorial, I am not getting too precise with this. I think because it's a nude liner, there's a lot of wiggle room. You don't have to be like perfectly precise and symmetrical and everything. I'm just getting a base color on my lips. That's a natural color, as you can see. It does a good job of hiding that red part. That little fever blister is actually healed. It's just still super red, and it stays that way for about a week. So now I'm going to just top this matte liner with a little bit of the NYX Butter Gloss. This is in the shade Fortune Cookie, and it's definitely a light nude. And normally if I have a cold sore that is active, I won't use lip products on it because I don't want to contaminate the products that I have, but because this is healed, it's just still red, I am okay with using this. So there is a little bit of gloss for the lips. And one product that I am using, and I'm sorry about this, but I'm not sorry because you guys seriously should check out this line if you haven't checked out ColourPop Cosmetics. Not a sponsor, I just love them. This is not found at the drugstore, but it is better than drugstore prices in my opinion. This little pot was $4.99. This is the highlighter I'm using today. It's the Super Shock Cheek line in ColourPop's highlighters, and this shade is called Smoke and Whistles. And I am taking the finishing brush from Eco Tools and just swirling the tip of it into this pan. It's kind of like a bouncy texture. I really love it. And then I'm going to sweep from the like the center of my eye right here up to the end of my eyebrow. So sweeping that up in right here, and then I'm going to take above my brow and sweep it down and meet that highlight that's on the top of my cheekbone, creating kind of a C shape. Let me show you again on this side. So swirling into the pan and going from the center of my eye up this way, adding highlight here, and then going with whatever is remaining on this brush in a C shape from the top of my eyebrow down, just like that. And then I'm gonna add just a bit to the bridge of my nose and just a little bit to my chin. If there's any place I avoid, it's my chin, because that can start to look a little bit greasy, but my skin has actually been really great as far as oil control, so I'm not concerned that my face is gonna break down and start looking like an oil slick today. Alrighty, and there you have it. I love this look. It keeps the glow on from this late summertime and still brings in some fall colors, like with that mauve crease color and the very nude lip. I just think this is super easy, very affordable because it's drugstore. And if you enjoyed it too, please let me know in the comments and give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what you are looking forward to most this school year. For me, it is teaching an algebra class. I am so excited for that, and starting homeschooling with my own kids. So stoked for this school year, and I hope you enjoyed this makeup tutorial to get you started in your school year. Subscribe for more videos like this, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.